No, I don't want them to gain another yard. You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure that they remember forever the night they played the Titans. Leave no doubt!
Welcome, everybody, once again to Titans Tube. My name is Justin. With me is Jake, and we're going to be breaking down the Tennessee Titans smash, the smash show of the LA Rams on Sunday Night Football, Jake, by a final score of 28-16. Holy cow! What in the world, Jake? I didn't expect this to happen. I mean, I feel like a terrible, terrible fan, Jake, because I think in another video I said something along the lines of, I just kind of want to get out of this game healthy. It's not important if we win. I'm not going to be upset if we lose. I'm kind of expecting to lose. This Rams team is great. Derrick Henry's gone. Let's just kind of pick up some pieces and see what we have going forward without Derrick Henry. And the Titans, I kind of forgot about Derrick Henry from time to time during the game, Jake, because this was an amazing showing, particularly by the defense. Jake, what do you have to say? What do you have to say about these Titans that just keep showing up?
Oh, my goodness, Justin. I mean, is it time to give us our due respect as one of the top dogs in the entire league? We definitely showed it by going on the road in prime time, knocking off a true NFC contender in the Los Angeles Rams and doing it in a really convincing fashion. And doing it on the side of the ball where we haven't seen success from the Titans in a very, very long time to this degree. And of course, I'm talking about the defense, obviously getting tons and tons of credit across all Titans channels and media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but for really good reason. I mean, this is a high-flying Rams offense that they came in and absolutely shut down, harassed Matthew Stafford, one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league. Jeffrey Simmons just responds by saying, you know what, I'm just going to push people into Matt Stafford and have 1, 2, 3 sacks in the first half as he did in his celebration. But unbelievable, just team gutsy performance without Derrick Henry by the Titans. And they certainly played like a team who heard all week long that this team isn't anything without Derrick Henry.
Dude, absolutely. This team came out motivated, as AJ Brown said in a presser before the game. Like, what is the identity and what's the feel around the locker room? He said motivated, and they looked like a team more motivated than ever to show what we're made of outside of Derrick Henry, which it's amazing. This first half of that football game, Jake, is one of the best, if not the best, defensive halves I've seen this Titans team play, maybe ever. Maybe going back to 2008, 1999, when we had some elite defenses on the field. I hadn't seen anything like it. We were making life miserable for that offensive line and that offense. These front four, Jake, it's coming together, and it's completely changed this entire team when we have a pass rush. I mean, you see the sky is kind of the limit now. You know, last year we started out 5-0. We might have even been 7-2 at one point. I can't exactly remember how we're 7-2 right now, but even then we could see that team has had problems, particularly on defense. We couldn't stop anybody. We just had to go out there and outscore the opponent if we wanted to win. We didn't think this team was that team last year was a legitimate Super Bowl contender, even at 11-5 and winning the AFC South. But what about this team, Jake? You can see how much changes when the defense can just dominate a game like this on a day when the offense, you know, they cashed in on the opportunities that the defense gave them. So credit to them for that. But the offense kind of struggled to move the ball. AJ Brown wasn't there all the way. I don't know. He ripped off 3 great games this past month. But, you know, outside of those 3 games, he's kind of struggled to find some rhythm. And he kind of regressed a little bit, I thought, to the AJ Brown with the first few games of the season. So hopefully nothing's, you know, up with that. He'll hopefully just kind of got a case of the yips. I kind of think Ramsey actually may have succeeded in getting into his head. He kind of looked flustered and frustrated John back and forth with Ramsey. But despite that, the offense did enough to win. So credit to him for that. But this game was led by the defense. They led the charge fully all the way. I just could not be more impressed with how they were able to dial up this defensive scheme. And Sean McVay seemed like he was out of answers. He didn't know what was going on or what to do. So just what a win. It was so nice to be able just to relax for almost, the whole second half and just feel like we have complete control of this game. It got to 21-9 at one point. I think right before the fourth quarter until the Titans capped it off with Adrian Peterson touchdown, Jake. So I guess if you kind of want to get into some specifics of the game, let's start off with that and the offensive side of the football. What did you think of, I'll call him, and I'm stealing this from the Titans subreddit, but what did you think about Adrian McForman? This trifecta of running backs coming into this game all kind of had similar numbers, but I got to say, I think Foreman may have impressed me the most out of all three of them. That guy had some burst. So I don't know. What did you make of this running game now without Derrick Henry?
Yeah, it was a little slower than I maybe anticipated. And Taylor Lewan being dressed but did not play a single snap in this game, I think had a big bearing on how the rushing success of Adrian McForman went along as far as this game. But yes, Deontay Foreman coming out with a little bit of zip, more pep in his step than the other two guys. And it goes to show, we've talked about it all the time, but hungry dog runs faster. And this guy has bounced around team to team, practice squad for the Titans cut. He played a couple of games last year, but not really a steady presence in the NFL. And he definitely played like a guy who's looking to solidify a job over the next half of the season here for the Titans, and he just might do it. You alluded to it.
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman, 5 carries, 29 yards, almost 6 a carry, Justin. That's easily the best what we saw all night. Jeremy McNichols had 7 for 24, and Adrian Peterson 10 for 21, but he did have the goal line touchdown, so that kind of salvaged his stat line. It's funny you bring up the running game first, Justin. I don't like to bet on any kind of Titans games, but it got around to me that Adrian Peterson's over-under rushing total was 32.5. And I bit like an SOB on that. I thought it was a for sure thing. I said he's got over 33 yards. I mean, we're going to give him the ball, 10, 15, maybe even more times. And obviously didn't play out like that. Titans with a big lead, obviously going to sit the aging Adrian Peterson in favor of guys like Foreman and McNichols. But it was an interesting game on the offensive side of the ball, Justin. If you would have told me Ryan Tannehill has 143 yards and a pick, and A.J. Brown's got 42, Julio 35, neither of them catches a touchdown, I would have said that the Titans really didn't have a shot in this game, and that goes to show how shocking the defensive performance was for the Titans on Sunday night.
Yeah, definitely. Not great stat lines. I just spoke about it with AJ Brown seeming to struggle a little bit. I think, if he catches those third down passes, I think he might have had 2 that he wound up dropping. The offense, may have been, the passing game in general may have been just fine. I mean, those were 2 drives that seemed like they would have easily been able to be sustained. I mean, it seemed like we were moving the ball at certain points in the game pretty well until, shoot yourself in the foot. A couple drops, and now you got to punt the ball away. But and I did want to allude to your bet with Adrian Peterson. I kind of thought, you texted me that, and I was like, oh, he's definitely going to get that. I thought he might even get that in the first half. Yeah. And he had 10 carries. I mean, you give Adrian Peterson 10 carries, more times than not, you think he'll get you 32 yards. But Rams defense it's very stout front seven. But yeah, the offense in general, I think that's a good point about Taylor Lewan not playing in this game. Bobby Hart had a rough game. He had some penalties. He missed some blocks. I mean, hopefully if Lewan's going to be in and out of the lineup, we're going to have to find a better option than putting Hart out there. He did not look very good. And I think he graded as the worst Titans player in this game from PFF's grades, if you buy into that. So I think that for sure had an effect on the offensive rhythm at certain points. But when your defense plays like that, you don't really need much from your offense. And and a shout out, of course, to Brett Kern once again. He had that clutch, just amazing punt down there inside the 5-yard line that resulted in David Long's interception when the twirling Matthew Stafford just
Carson Wentz impersonation. Right.
Yeah, right between the numbers. So yeah, I mean, good grief. 5 sacks on the night, 4 in the first half. You know who else? I don't know. We're kind of just jumping everywhere a little bit with this game. I was about to jump to the defense, but again, without Christian Fulton, this secondary is kind of rounding out to be a nice unit here. I'm especially impressed with how Chris Jackson has come along. I think I saw a stat where he gave up maybe 5 or 6 catches for 40-something yards total when the ball was thrown his way. And how about Amani Hooker making that one tackle on third down?
Unbelievable.
He led the team in tackles with the game with 12, but that third down tackle was like textbook, one of the best open field tackles you could hope for in a safety. So Hooker playing well. Obviously, Kevin Byard is playing at an all-pro level. Chris Jackson's coming around. Jackrabbit Jenkins, I'm not seeing him getting burned or anything like that. I think he's having a great bounce back after a slow start to the season for him. And we still have Christian Fulton to get back. I mean,
yes,
we got to feel so good about this Titans team and where we are at. I'm already hearing things about, Mike Vrabel, possible coach of the year with this constantly rotating roster and shuffling healthy and injured players around more than anybody else in the league. I think the Titans have played more different players than anyone else in the NFL. So just goes to show that, I mean, he has established something here, Jake, and Mike Vrabel deserves all the credit in the world for what he's built here. And what, it's funny looking at the end of last season and thinking, what are we doing promoting Shane Bowen? We're not getting outside help, and we're sticking yet again with another in-house offensive coordinator, unproven. These coaches are obviously the issue. What's going on here? You go out in the offseason, you pick up a couple clutch pieces into Nico Autry, Bud Dupree. The offense has played well throughout the whole course of the season. Kind of struggled on Sunday Night Football, but dude, he's got this team humming right now, and it's incredible to watch. And now I think everyone else is like, yes, we love Todd Downing, we love Shane Bowen. Everyone has changed their tune. This team is number 1 in the AFC, Jake. So I couldn't be more excited. I can't wait to see this team play again against the Saints. I'm already looking ahead, but I don't know what else, Jake.
I wanted to close the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it was a quiet night from the offense overall. I wanted to shout out 2 things specifically. I loved to see Julio Jones catch just a quick screen, just throw him a quick pass, get him in space. He has a physical, good run, picks up a first down. That's what you want to see out of Julio Jones. Yes, the stat line is 4 catches, 35 yards, nothing spectacular. People who own him in fantasy football are going to be pissed off at that. But Titans fans are going to be very happy with what they saw out of Julio Jones from a health standpoint, from a physicality standpoint. And, as far as deep shots are concerned with this offense in Sunday night's game I don't think Tannehill had time, especially with Bobby Hart at left tackle. He didn't have time to really sit back there and let a long route develop. It was a lot of quick stuff. It was a lot of get the ball out of our hands. Let's keep moving along. It was survival mode without Derrick Henry and Taylor Lewan out there in a way. So yes, a pedestrian night, but here's the thing about the Titans offense against the Rams is that they were 3 for 3 when they were in the red zone and scoring touchdowns. Going back to, I think more and more on this winning streak, Justin, the Titans have find themselves on a 5-game winning streak after the loss to the New York Jets. And, you keep going back to that game as a Titans fan in your head. And what they failed to do in that game was convert red zone possessions into touchdowns. And that was the entire game. I mean, if the Titans converted red zone touchdowns in that game, it's over in the first quarter and the Titans are 8-1 instead of 7-2, but coulda, woulda, shoulda till the cows come home. On Sunday night, the Titans offense did what they needed to do to win this football game, and the defense afforded them the opportunities to do it, and they cashed in. So big win for the Titans offense as far as that's concerned.
Flipping and on the Rams side,
go ahead.
Or I was just going to throw it on the Rams side. You saw that they weren't able to cash in. I mean, the defense didn't set their offense up like ours did, but they kicked 3 field goals in that game. So again, when the defense bent, they did not break until the very end, until the little underneath shuffle to Sony Michel at the very end of the game. Wanted to see the defense keep the Rams out of the end zone the whole game, but
they wanted it too.
Yeah, but you can't really get mad at a garbage time touchdown. So great job by the defense to really lock down, force the Rams to kick field goals when they didn't want to, and when they really didn't, they couldn't afford to. They needed to cash in on touchdowns to stay in the game. So, but yeah, I interrupted you. What were you about to say?
No, all good. I was flipping sides of the ball. I almost went out to Trader Joe's before this recap to pick up a fresh bouquet of flowers and say, I'm mailing these to the Titans facility for Shane Bowen. It's time for him to officially get his flowers as the Titans defensive coordinator, because wow. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were fire Bowen weeks 1 through 4, and now on prime time against one of the higher flying offenses in football, NFC, on the road, weird opponent, comes down and absolutely shuts them down. And yeah, you can't praise Danico Autry, Jeff Simmons, Bud Dupree had a hand in this game on a 4th down stop. And Harold Landry, of course, continues his success, notching half a sack in that game as well. Unbelievable performance. And the Titans, I think, are starting to smell blood in the water, Justin. I mean, we're looking ahead a little bit, but it is very possible and viable that the Titans get the number 1 seed in the AFC if they keep playing at such a high level and, taking care of business when duty calls. We went through the murderer's row, Justin, 4-0. We approached this part in our schedule at 3-2, where you had to play Buffalo Monday night. You had to play Kansas City. You had to go to Indianapolis when you've already played them once. And then you had to go to the Rams again on prime time. And it's unbelievable that they ended 4-0 when Titans fans, when the schedule came out, were, oh my God, this is going to be an absolute terror of a schedule section. And the Titans came out on top.
Yeah, it's like, let's see what our team is made of. This is really going to be the meat of our season, to see how good this team can be. I don't think anybody was predicting a 4-0 record coming out of this. This 5-game winning streak, it started with the Jaguars after the Jets game. But even including that game, when, the Titans did play well in that game too, on top of, the opponent being Jacksonville. This 5-game win streak has got to be one of the most impressive. I don't know how many people are talking about this. It could be a hot talking point, if I can say that correctly, is one of the most impressive streaks I've seen as a Titans fan, going back to some of our best seasons. I mean, the way the Titans have won these games is it's ridiculous. We're winning in shootouts against Buffalo and I guess Indianapolis, the same score, 34-31 in those games, but blowing out the Rams, blowing out the Chiefs. I mean, this is incredible. I'm kind of speechless. I'm just super impressed with what this team has rallied, how this team has rallied together after the Jets game, and I've just started kicking the NFL's butt ever since. And what's up? To
your point on how impressive this winning streak is, I pulled up this tweet. I made sure to bookmark it, favorite it just for this recap episode. This is from Ed Werder, ESPN reporter. The Titans are the 4th team in the last 15 seasons to win 4 straight games, all against playoff teams from the previous season. Obviously, we're talking Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis, the Rams all making the playoffs last season. The previous 3 teams to reach this feat all made the Super Bowl, and 2 of them won it. So that is the kind of success and impressiveness you are seeing come out of this Titans team. They are laying the wood to quality opponents and doing it in different ways. You mentioned it, you're seeing this Titans team win in different ways each time. And that just speaks to Mike Vrabel being the head coach, because since he's come in, the Titans have consistently found ways to win, even when Derrick Henry's not in the lineup or playing, to an exuberant level. I mean, we beat the Chiefs, Derrick Henry under 90 yards rushing. We beat the Colts, Derrick Henry under like 70 yards rushing. So it wasn't because of Derrick Henry that the Titans reel off this 4-game win streak. Did he help? Absolutely. But to put the cherry on top of this win streak is that, you lost the heart and soul of your offense, the heart and soul of your franchise, frankly, and you responded in this way. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Jake. I mean, Stephen A. Smith told me that the Titans season was over because of Derrick Henry, and there's no way we could possibly win any games without Derrick Henry. I mean, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. But still, even with that, and Tannehill having a ho-hum game that he did, you got A.J. Brown dropping passes, no receiver, had more than 42 yards. What are you going to do? How about we stack the opposing offense 5 times, get a pick 6, and just make plays all over the field en route to a 28-16 win? I mean, the team finds ways to win offensively, now defensively. Yeah, I think we could go up and beat any team in the league with how we're playing right now. Hopefully we're not peaking right now. Hopefully, we're still getting healthier. You don't want to peak at the wrong time. You would like for that to happen in January and February, but I would pick the Titans against any team in the NFL at this point, even the Bucks. Yeah, I'll take a rematch against the Arizona Cardinals after they kicked our butt week 1 of the season. Put Aaron Rodgers back there with COVID. I don't care. Put him on the Green Bay Packers. I will take the Titans to beat an Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers team. And Jake, I'm looking way too far ahead, but I'm kind of looking over.
Let's do it. Let's look far ahead.
I'm already looking over to that AFC North division. The only other team with 2 losses is those pesky Baltimore Ravens. Jake, are we on track to see this team down the road in January? Lamar Jackson still scares me, man. I mean, if any team has the Titans number, we finally, historically, the Ravens have been the team that has prevented Super Bowls more than any other team. The Rams, we just got our revenge on the Rams for the 99 Super Bowl. Maybe we can get more revenge on the Ravens. But man, that could be on the menu. We may be seeing this Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens team again in this revived rivalry between these two franchises. But I know that's far ahead into the future. But you just kind of start looking at these things. You look at the schedule, see what teams you got left and what the possibilities are. But yeah, Titans and Ravens at the top of the AFC as it stands, with the Titans having the easiest remaining schedule, I think, in terms of
I was going to bring that up.
Winning percentage that they're going to be facing from their opponents. So why not? Why not us? We've beaten the hardest part of our schedule. Now we just got the easiest ones, and we don't even need our good players to win apparently now. So it's kind of there for the taking if the Titans are able to take care of business.
Now, yes. And speaking to that, I was going to bring up the pesky Baltimore Ravens as far as the realistic chances of the Titans claiming the 1 seed, because you look across the AFC. Now, the Chiefs, yes, when they're down, the Chiefs will be up again. I promise you that. So that tiebreaker against Kansas City may come into play later on down the line. I think the Raiders are fumbling the bag in the AFC West. The Chargers aren't looking quite as hot as they started off the season. So, Kansas City winning that division, that tiebreaker is going to come into play if the Titans end up with the same record. But now with this win, solidifying your 5-game winning streak in the murderer's row of the schedule, you start to think that it's possible that this is the number 1 seed in the AFC. And you brought up Stephen A. and all that. Like, I don't even want national media respect now. Let's just keep winning. I don't care if they talk about us on ESPN or Pro Football Focus or wherever. I just frankly don't care. Let's just win football games. And Kevin Byard said in his post-game interview, we're not trying to prove anybody wrong, but we're trying to prove ourselves right, and that this is a contender in the NFL. And it's life of an NFL fan, Justin. Week 4, this team is 2-2, and we say Super Bowl is completely off of the table. And 5 weeks later, they're sitting at 7-2. And we're talking about how it's a very, very realistic chance that the Titans can show up, take care of business against one of the easiest schedules remaining in the NFL. The 1 seed is theirs. They have the tiebreakers I think they're going to need. I mean, Baltimore, you don't get the head-to-head matchup, but they play in a tough AFC North. They have a tough end of their schedule. Their next couple of weeks are real light, but then it picks up with a lot of divisional games. Yeah. And who's to say, man? And especially it's critically important that if the Titans are going to make a run at this thing and they are going to play at this level and they're going to be this kind of team, that they get the 1 seed, because 10 weeks, Derrick Henry, 6 to 10 weeks, 10 weeks puts you at week 18, the very last game, Titans at Houston. Hopefully you have the 1 seed locked up by then. Okay, now you can wait an 11th week and then 12 weeks for Derrick Henry's return, resting him 2 more weeks than the longest kind of worst case scenario you would like to see with Derrick Henry. So if they really want to make a run at it, Justin, here you go. The table is set for the Tennessee Titans.
It feels like the storybook ending, you know, with Derrick Henry coming back from injury just in time for the playoff run to make an impact and just dominate and be. I would think he's rested, but at the same time, how do you weigh him being rested versus him having to, you know, take it easy on his foot? Is he able to run at 100% Derrick Henry, even with even coming off surgery 10 weeks later? But I guarantee you this, Jake, there's no way Derrick Henry does not come back for the playoffs. I mean, I know there's some people, I think there was something coming out. I think Schefter tweeted out like he had a source or whatever saying that they think it would be very surprising if Henry came back from this injury this season. Just, I don't know, a more pessimistic take for whatever reason. But, dude, there's no way Derrick Henry is missing the playoffs. Even if he re-breaks his foot, he's like, oh, no, I'm playing. This is my team, and we have a real shot at the Super Bowl. I'm in the game. Give me some crutches if that's what it takes. I don't think Derrick Henry, even the doctors are not going to be able to sit him down. I think if Henry feels good, he's going to be in there for the playoffs for us. Let's just get there. And I think we have a 99% chance to make the playoffs at this point. So I think we're okay in that regard. But dude, what an amazing return that would be if he came in for the playoffs. We had the bye week, and this team was finally got to 100% healthy,
fully loaded.
Oh, a boy can dream. I'm dreaming of that day, Jake, and hopefully that's what happens. But man, oh man, I mean, the Titans absolutely put themselves on notice. I think based on this game and because they were in the national spotlight and the games that Byard and Jeffrey Simmons had, they're definitely going to be in the Pro Bowl, if not all pro players. I mean, you need, you know, especially for a small market team that doesn't get a lot of exposure, you know, your big players have to show up and play extremely well when they are on the stage and in the spotlight. And that's what they did. And I think people are now waking up to, oh yeah, Kevin Byard, he's, you know, he led the league in interceptions a few years ago and made a name for himself then. But I think people got introduced to who Jeffrey Simmons is. You know, he came in here as, you know, I'm not comparing him to Aaron Donald, but I mean, he's that Aaron Donald type player that not everyone knows about yet. And he can dominate an offensive line by himself, it seems like. And that's what he did. And he completely took over this game in the same way that we've seen Aaron Donald take over games for the past several years. So yeah, you love to see it. You love to see your big dogs just shine on the under the bright lights in Hollywood, California. So,
yes, once upon a time in Hollywood, Justin, the Titans came in and showed, you know, the world that they have a decent defense, you know, and it goes back to what you were saying, and we've talked about this a little bit, but last year you didn't feel like you really had a chance. I mean, the Titans might beat Baltimore in that first game, hosting their first playoff game since 2008. You know, you might advance a little bit, but we can't stop Kansas City. We can't stop Buffalo. You know, I mean, they did in the Tuesday night football game, but you didn't think this defense was going to gel and come together ever. But patience pays off, Justin. And we have kind of waited on this defense, and man, did they have a huge coming out party. Obviously, unbelievable performance. Yeah, it's almost a speechless feeling as a Titans fan to everybody was just, let's have fun, let's drink a beer, let's get out healthy. That was the entire narrative, not just you and me, but everywhere is what you saw from Titans camps all across you know, Twitter and anywhere you consume Titans content. And they came in and laid the wood to a Super Bowl contending team. So whatever. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, Max Kellerman, you know, who's that guy? Nick something.
Nick Wright.
Nick Wright.
Nick Wrong,
yes.
More like it.
Yeah. I like that. Nick Wrong. How about that? Love shutting those guys up, making them talk about the Titans more, even though they don't watch Titans games. They don't really know a lot about this team. But if this team keeps playing the way that they are, a lot more people are going to be remembering the Titans. Am I right, Justin?
Oh, very well played. Well played.
Thank you.
Yeah, this game was like it just went too well. Everything was, I don't want to take anything away from the Titans' effort and credit, but everything just kind of went our way too, Jake. I know the officiating is a big issue in the league this year, and it was an issue again last night. But dude, we were getting a lot of calls. Like whenever you think the Titans would be stopped or a drive would be, if a drive would be stopped, you think we're about to punt the ball or we give up a bad play here or there. Holding on the Rams or horrible roughing the passer call.
Yeah, that was bad.
On Aaron Donald. Everybody was criticizing that, and they were right to. And I was watching the game with Caleb, Caleb from Titans too, and he said he was starting to say, dude, I'm pretty sure this ref is a Titans fan. He has to be a Titans fan. I mean, I would be livid if I was a Rams fan, and I'm not saying all the calls were crap. I mean, surely, a lot of calls were legitimate that the Rams had. But 12 penalties for 115 yards versus 4 penalties for 19 yards for the Titans. That is a huge penalty
difference.
I don't know what word I was looking for, but disparity. I was
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, I'll take the disparity word. I like that one better. All right, but thanks for the help.
Anyway. Yeah, no worries, man.
So the officiating went our way. It was like I'm having too much fun watching this game. Like everything is going our way. The Titans are dominating. Even the questionable, horrible calls are going the Titans' way. You don't want to see that because it's one of those things where you don't love it, but you'll take it if it happens in your team's favor. But it's bad for the game when you can do this to a quarterback after he throws the ball and it's a roughing the passer call. And that was a 3rd down too. And I think that's when we ended up icing it with the Adrian Peterson touchdown. But yeah, what a feeling. It was, we've seen games like this go against the Titans officiating wise all the time. So it was like, and I didn't even know, that was the funny thing too, is this official? I have never seen him before in my life.
Yeah,
I watched a lot of football and it's like, dude, it's almost like this guy came out of Nashville and just like put on a ref jersey and just started throwing flags in the Titans' favor. I'm not saying this game was fixed or anything, but it was just like, I've never seen this guy before, but he loves the Titans. That's a fact. He keeps flagging the Rams. But anyway,
to that point, if he really loved the Titans and he really was a to the bone Titans fan, Jalen Ramsey would have been thrown out of this football game and been ejected. And he should have been. He went back on the second call. Mike Vrabel's talking to the guy. He goes, "Oh, the first one was not unsportsmanlike." Rewind the tape. He literally on the first call, unsportsmanlike conduct. That's his second, and he should have been thrown out of the ball game. That's the only thing that didn't go the Titans' way on Sunday night as far as officiating went, because Roger Goodell made a phone call and was like, Jalen Ramsey's got to stay in this football game. Like, Titans are rolling. We have to keep the star power on the field for the Rams. Something along the lines there. But Jalen Ramsey being thrown out of the game would have been truly the cherry on top of this football game. Just because, A.J. Brown's talking about him in his press conference. He's like, I'm cool with between the whistle. Like, let's get at it. But like the dirty after the play stuff, not about that. That kind of deal. But yes, definitely a good night for the Titans all around. Maybe just except Bobby Hart, Bobby Hart was the sole demerit of this football team. Yeah. Oh, and Ryan Tannehill throwing another interception. We kind of glazed over that in the Jalen Ramsey talk.
You got to get used to it now, Jake. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with Tannehill, but you're guaranteed Tannehill pass right to the defender. I don't know. I guess Ramsey kind of broke on the ball, but I mean, just you can't throw that pass, and it's become a normal thing. But he always bounces back. I mean, he had, the signature. It wasn't the option keeper that you love, but it was close enough. It was the play action naked bootleg.
I'll take that.
Works like a charm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe the defense bit on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess Adrian Peterson isn't what he was, but that's what his, like, having a big name player does. Like, he's on the field. You just always just have to account for him. And so you're going to bite harder on play action than if it was Jeremy McNichols back there. Faking the handoff. But so Tannehill, of course, is as calm and composed as ever after a bad interception. He came back and I thought had a pretty decent game. Not his best, but made good decisions, managed the game nice. Would have had a better game if A.J. Brown could have caught those third down passes to extend drives. But hey, why focus on the negatives when there are just limitless positives to come out of this game? So huge shout out, man. This defense is fun to watch. I've never thought I would say that about a Titans defense, especially after last year. But man, they are fun to watch. This front four has got to be one of the best, if not the best front fours in the entire league. And what a luxury it is to be able to generate pass rush with 4 guys. And I mean, I think that's the dream. That's the dream for any defense. And these guys are getting it done. So, shout out, J-Rob had the vision. We're getting Autry, we're getting Bud Dupree, and we're going to roll with them and Simmons and Landry. And we're going to eclipse our total sack numbers from last year halfway into this year. It's a beautiful
Unbelievable thing. It is a very, very beautiful thing. And for Titans fans out there who are into this kind of thing, I saw the hashtag going around. What are we going to name this front four? There's plenty of famous front four defensive lines in football history, and if this group keeps it up, we get a deep playoff run with this group. They were dubbed the Grand Ole Stoppery, Justin, Sunday night. I don't know if it'll stick. You don't seem like a big fan, but I thought it was a little bit clever. Grand Ole Stoppery.
It is, but I was hearing Autry's nickname as the Grand Old Autry. I heard that first.
Oh, okay, fair.
But if we want to go with Stoppery to include all of them, Stoppery, Autry the Stoppery, or just all of them as the Grand Old Stoppery. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what sticks. But I think they have deserved to have themselves a nickname.
For sure.
They are a dominant group. And I mean, shout out to Jim Schwartz too, as the defensive consultant. I think he's got to be having an impact. I mean, he's kind of known for his 4-3 defenses, and he does like to blitz, but I mean, he generally likes to have his 4-man rushes, and that's what we had here whenever he was our defensive coordinator with some really great defenses. So, big shout out to Jim Schwartz making contributions, and I mean, what a turnaround from Shane Bowen. And what's nice too about this defense. How long has it been since we've given up a super deep completion that this defense was doing every single game? I mean, against the Colts, we had the equivalent of that with the bad long pass interferences, but the Rams weren't able to hit any deep balls. And I don't know, I guess the Chiefs didn't, and did the Bills maybe? Oh, there was a busted coverage to Cole Beasley in the Monday night game. But the busted coverages I think are getting corrected, and that was kind of the Achilles heel of this defense. As long as they weren't giving up 50-yard, 60-yard long passes, this defense was very reliable outside of that. So, if they can continue to correct that, this is easily a top 10 defense, maybe inching towards a top 5 offense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. And it all starts with that pass rush, man. You gotta love the leaders on this team up front. They're making the difference.
No doubt about it. And I touching on the explosive plays, I was listening to the Official Titans podcast, and Mike Keith noted that the longest play for the explosive Los Angeles Rams offense was 24 yards to, I think, the Tyler Higbee slip screen play. So if a screen pass is going to end up being one of your longest plays on the day, I'll take that. I mean, we're not seeing, Cooper Kupp, the top receiver in the league, stand alone, butt naked in the end zone. It's progress. We're seeing progress from this defense, and it was kind of their shining moment on Sunday night. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, and even when maybe they did have plays dialed up to go deep, because on some of those sacks, I got to give credit to the secondary, because some of those could be chalked up to coverage sacks, because there were some times when Stafford would hold the ball for, obviously for too long until, the pass rush got there and took him down. So maybe they were looking for the deep shot, but Titans were correcting things and it wasn't there. So coverage all around. I'm just going to go back and rewatch this entire game. I'm going to love watching highlights from this game. I mean, this was just a beautiful performance. Jeffrey Simmons coming out party. Welcome to the end. Welcome yourself to the spotlight.
Yes.
I mean,
it's about time, honestly.
Yeah. Oof. Man, that draft class sure does help make up for the draft classes of the past couple years. Simmons, I guess Nate Davis and AJ Brown, Amani Hooker. I mean, those guys are great. Hopefully we get Nate Davis back too. He did miss this game. So yeah, again, with the offensive line being banged up, hopefully we can continue to get 100% back from there moving forward. But man, all good things we're seeing from this Titans team, Jake.
And I mean, we've touched on it throughout the video, is this team's not even healthy, Justin. This team doesn't have Derrick Henry. They didn't have Taylor Lewan. They didn't have Nate Davis. You have two big anchors of your offensive line out. No Derrick Henry. I have to say that again, just because of the impact that he has. And you don't have your number one corner, Christian Fulton. And, Rashawn Evans being a starter, I guess. I mean, who's to say the Jayon Brown, David Long duo doesn't become your fixture? And, as of Sunday Night Football, I mean, performed pretty well, at least to my eyes. But unbelievable. This team's not even healthy. And hopefully, we aren't peaking right now. That's important to remember as Titans fans. Super Bowls aren't won in September. They're not won in October. They're not won in November. And, I mean, you can notch a 1 seed in December, and that might have a play on it. But Super Bowls aren't won in Week 9 Sunday night intra-conferences games. So it's important to remember that this team shouldn't be peaking right now. They aren't peak health right now. And hopefully it's just something to build on. And they have an easy schedule down the road. And let's just take care of business and go lock up that 1 seed, Justin. Get Derrick Henry back for the divisional round. Host them in Nissan Stadium. Knock out the Ravens. I don't even know who will play in the AFC title game, but we're going to knock them out en route to go back to SoFi, where the defense will dominate again. Pie in the sky expectations, of course, but how can you not, as a diehard Titans fan, after watching this team play for the last 5 weeks? It's been a thing of beauty.
I mean, it's such a Titans thing, though, to get to a point where the fans have 100% confidence and they are bought in. And the national media starts talking about you, and then the Titans do their thing where they just start losing games and go back to not as relevant in NFL conversation anymore. But I don't think these are the same Titans teams of the past. They're going to keep their focus. And a little bit of breaking news before we started going on. This video, Jake. So we've learned that Derrick Henry without Derrick Henry, this Titans team will do just fine. But will the Titans be just fine without Josh Reynolds, Jake? It appears that he has asked to be released. This receiver that we signed in the offseason, expected to play a big role in this offense, has a big role. He does not have a big role, and he is no longer going to be a Titan probably. Disappointing, Jake. I was actually kind of excited about Josh Reynolds, but he's not even dressed for these games. So I don't know if he's just not that good after all. I mean, he was a big player for the Rams. Speaking of the Rams, he was a big number 3 receiver, I think, on that team last year. So I don't know why this signing flamed out. Maybe it's that number 18 jersey, because Rashard Matthews just flamed out of nowhere. And now Josh Reynolds, it's the same thing. So stay away from the number 18 jerseys, Titans of the future. So no more Josh Reynolds.
Yes.
And whatever, I guess. I'm disappointed in him, but
I mean, he didn't make a solid impact when he was in the game. He had a couple of catches here and there. They tried to get him involved a little bit, if I remember correctly, against Kansas City, maybe, or it wasn't the Indianapolis game, that's for sure. I think it was the Kansas City game was his best game as a Titan, like 3 catches for 12 yards or something like that. But disappointing to see. But thank God for Chester Rogers, Julio Jones, Marcus Johnson, and Nick Westbrook-Akina for filling up that wide receiver 3/2 role nicely enough to where we can grant Josh Reynolds his release that he asked for. So, something about that number 18 jersey, Justin. Players just don't want to play in number 18 for the Titans. It just kind of comes down to that.
Yeah, I don't get it. But, happy trails. We'll be fine. This team is clicking, and we get to host the Saints next week, Jake, without Jameis Winston, who just went on to lose a game to the Atlanta Falcons. So they have dropped to 5-3 with Trevor Siemian as their quarterback. They got a good defense, though, Jake. This defense cannot be slept on. They're playing really well, so could be kind of slow going a bit again, particularly for this run game. hopefully we're able to get some of those offensive line pieces back. But yeah, gonna go for number 6 in a row, Jake, against the Saints at home. How do you like our prospects? Just kind of
like it.
In general, looking ahead.
I like it. I mean, it's classic Titans to go win 4 incredibly huge games against playoff-worthy opponents and then come back home and have Trevor Siemian just wreck us in Nissan Stadium. Yeah. That would be on brand for the Tennessee Titans, but these aren't your regular Tennessee Titans, Justin. I really like our chances. This offense needs to go a little bit smoother than they did on Sunday night. Adrian Peterson behind a hobbled offensive line was ineffective, to put it nicely, other than his goal line push touchdown, which made his stat line a little prettier. But all in all, I like our prospects. This defense is rounding into form. Hopefully we can see another dominant performance from this defensive line, and keep doing that, Justin. You're going to beat a lot of teams in the NFL. So I like how the Titans are rolling right now. How can you not?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's impossible not to, unless you're Stephen A. Smith and some of this national media that can't accept the fact that the Titans are a quality team, which apparently is impossible. If you lose to the New York Jets, you can never be a quality team ever, no matter what you do for the rest of the season. But yeah, gotta love it. Yeah. And we didn't really talk much, I guess, about Adrian Peterson and how he looked. He looked okay. He was moving his feet quick. There wasn't a lot of room to run. Mm-hmm. But he looks like he can play and he can contribute to this running back by rotation. So, averaging 2 yards a carry after just getting 10 carries is not a great stat line. But I'm encouraged with how he looked as far as, his movement and hitting the holes or hitting whatever was there in front of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm encouraged, and him along with Foreman and McNichols, on passing downs. You're still going to miss. You're not going to get the combination of that to replace Derrick Henry's production, but I think they can do enough to keep this offense in rhythm. We'll see how they look again against another tough defense in the Saints. But yeah, with that, man, I guess we can call it a wrap. If you have any final thoughts about this team and this game.
No final thoughts. Love this football team. You said it in our preview, Justin. It is a great time to be a Titans fan. No two doubts about that from either of us. So just enjoy the ride, tighten up, like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, and we will see you for the NFL picks and Saints preview video. So let's keep it rolling, Justin. Tighten up and peace out, man.
Tighten up.